Are you looking for a pleasant, beautiful, intelligent woman who compliments you perfectly in every single way? Someone who can be your best friend. Someone you want to wake up next to every morning for the rest of your life. If you're looking for someone like that, then I'm sorry, because we're going to talk about online dating today. The best thing about online dating for men is that it leads to a mindset of abundance, as in the abundance of women. Well, of course, fucking is nice, but that's short term. Being in abundance is much more useful because that takes away the power that any one woman can have over you. The kind of bullshit that girls say or do will not work on you anymore. If a girl says, "Wow, it's so late, how am I gonna get home?" You know, that trying to be subtle but not very subtle shit. You won't feel like you need to send her back. You send her back if you want to, if you feel like it, if she's earned it. And more importantly, when you're in abundance, it gets easier to get more women. It's like money, the more you have, the easier it is to earn more. Just like in the previous episode, a lot of women will hate what I have to say. In this case, it's because sexual abundance has always been more of a female privilege than a male one. The idea of men with abundance scares them. It takes power away from them because men will no longer go, "No, I'll just do anything you want me to." She'll realize that, yes, she has what men want, but it's not rare anymore. I started using OkCupid about 4 years ago, and I had just gotten out of a bad relationship then. It actually started off very nicely, in fact, she was the one doing most of the pursuing. But as I learned to appreciate her more, I got soft. The power in that relationship shifted, and it became stale and dry for both of us. I told myself I'll never be in a sexual or romantic relationship in which I didn't have most of the power, and this is not the male ego speaking, but simply because a relationship that a woman feels more powerful in is not an enjoyable one for either him or her. I'll discuss this in a future episode, but anyway, after my breakup, I learned about the concept of abundance and I decided to try applying it to my dating life, and the easiest way to do so was through OkCupid. In online dating, the same factors come into play as in real-world dating. Women look at your status, personality, looks, and income, also known as your sexual market value or SMV. The trick is being able to demonstrate these factors without looking like you're trying to demonstrate them. I mean, some women will still be attracted to a photo of you leaning against a BMW, or a profile that just says, "I earn $18,000 a month." But those are not the kind of women you want to spend too much time on, right? Now, some of you just want quick tips to success in online dating, but that's not what this video is about. I bet there are tons of other videos out there promising like top 10 Tinder tips. But I'm here to talk about the long game, concepts and ideas that will last you a lifetime. Think of this episode more as a blueprint or a guide. Let's talk about sexual market value or SMV in an online dating context. First, status. It's a huge topic. So much to talk about because almost everything human beings do in a modern society can be traced to status. To put it very simply, you'll want a woman to look at you and feel like she can show you off to her friends. Remember, it's about the status that she can get from being associated with you. Status is probably the hardest to consciously demonstrate in an online dating profile. Women sense your status through how you communicate, what your vibe is. An example would be, do you seek validation or are you shameless about the way you are? It doesn't mean that you have to be an asshole about it, but don't sound like you're sorry for your own existence. You know how some people type smiley faces or haha or LOLs at the end of a sentence way too much? A woman reading an online dating profile like that might feel that the guy is so afraid of offending someone, so insecure in the things that he says, that he needs to inject this kind of artificial positivity into his profile. Of course, I'm not telling you to remove all smiley faces or hahas or LOLs from your life, but look at the context and decide if it needs to be there. It probably doesn't. While there are many such small things that you can do to make yourself seem more attractive status-wise, I really don't suggest you go all out and fake a super high status because it's simply more worthwhile to learn to accept yourself as who you are while working hard to improve who you are. Again, you're playing the long game, so take the time to invest in yourself. There's no shortage of material out there that can guide you towards being the best version of yourself. Okay, that got a little too self-help. So let's move on to physical attractiveness or looks. It seems pretty straightforward, it's best demonstrated through your profile pics, obviously. But keep in mind that your profile pics are not just for demonstrating your looks. So what that means is that a toilet selfie is a lot less effective for you than it is for a girl. Ideally, your profile pic should demonstrate personality, income, and if possible, status, while happening to show how you look. Good examples will be a picture of you surfing or rock climbing or some sort of extreme activity if you want to show your adventurous outdoorsy side. Or a picture of you at a nice dinner party if you want to show your dinner party side. And same as income, if it's something you wish to communicate to the women on an online dating app, you have to find ways to hint at it instead of saying it outright. Some of you may think this is common sense, not to brag. But from a lot of stories I've heard, many guys are shamelessly blatant about these things, and it usually doesn't work on the best types of girls out there. And of course, personality. This is an area where you can really go all out on in an online dating scenario. But again, remember to show, not tell. Don't be that guy who writes in his profile, "I am adventurous and outgoing." Tell us how you're adventurous and outgoing. Write something about your travel experience, Write something about how you were traveling in Uzbekistan once and you tried to talk to a beautiful Uzbek girl in a cafe. But it turned out that her brother owns the cafe and suddenly you got surrounded by 5 Uzbek guys with beards as big as their forearms. But you managed to befriend everyone there by buying them beer or, something like that. You get what I mean, right? Show, not tell. And one more thing, it's better to be as honest as possible about your personality. Hopefully that doesn't end up being too terrible or disgusting. But there's no point in faking a personality because you end up attracting the wrong type of girls anyway. Even if you just want to lie your way into pussy, it probably wouldn't be as good as it can be with someone you can truly click with. And now that your profile is set up, you're about 20% there. It's not much, but it's a 20% you cannot miss out on. You have to see the whole online dating process as a sales or marketing funnel. It's your job to guide the girl from awareness to action. Awareness is when you send her the initial message and she reads it and then your profile. She's now aware of your existence and also roughly of who you are. Not every girl will reply, but that's normal, that's fine. That's why the process is a funnel. If she's not interested, move on. You may want to send a follow-up message a few days later because girls receive hundreds of messages every day. But don't get too hung up. Remember, abundance. You may get girls sending you the opening message sometimes, but don't count on it. You gotta be the one doing the work. Say something to every girl you find attractive on the app. There's a reason why the funnel is the widest at the top. Now, some of you may think that it's insincere to be juggling so many girls at once, but just remember, the girls are playing the same game. And then there's the issue of what to say in an opening message. Go read her profile, go look at her photos, create an opening message just for her. Some guys use copy-pasted messages and, they really only work on the dumbest girls. You're better off starting a unique conversation with every girl you want to get to know. So, alright, great, she's replied. 99% of the time this means that she's somewhat interested or at least intrigued. Your objective now is to create desire in her. Continue the conversation that you've started, but don't play it too rational, don't play it too straight. It's play, it's not a job interview. Challenge her a little because she'll be doing the same to you as well. And that's what some people call shit testing. So what shit testing is that the girl will say things or not say things to see how you react. To see if you're a wimpy weakling who is only interesting because he watched some dumb YouTube video on online dating. Or to see if you're actually strong enough to shrug off her attempts at throwing you off balance. And then there's the whole thing about creating sexual tension. It's a pretty big topic by itself, so I'm not going to go into too much detail here. But ideally, you should make her unable to decide if she wants to punch you or to kiss you. The actual conversation is usually my favorite part of the process. It's an art. It's an exercise in creativity even. Not all of you will be good at it, but I guarantee that all of you will become better at it. So just keep talking, just keep trying it on, all the girls you find online. There are plenty of them for you to practice on. And eventually at some point you want to escalate the conversation by getting her number and then continuing it on WhatsApp or some sort of private messaging app. So do the same things, play around in the conversation, tease her, challenge her, repel her challenges, sexual tension, blah blah blah, and then ask her out. That's really, your short-term objective. You have to ask her out. Nothing happens if it's just online. Unless you're into that, then, you'll find plenty of companions for that online, so don't worry. But if you're like most guys, you want to ask her out. And during the real-life date, that's when you may actually make your action. Okay, I know I skipped over another huge portion there, the actual meetup. And real life dating, that's definitely a separate topic by itself, so maybe watch out for it in a future episode. But if she doesn't want to meet up, or if you find that she's not making the time for you, give her a chance or two maybe, depending on how attractive she is, but be ready to drop her. In fact, you should be ready to drop the girl at any point of the process. Don't be afraid to take an L, as the late great Patrice O'Neill puts it. As in, don't be afraid to take a loss. The more you seem like you're afraid to lose her, the more she'll treat you like garbage. The more you give your time and attention away to her, the less valuable your time and attention will be to her. Simple supply and demand. Alright, I've been talking about this for some time now, but I feel like I've only scratched the surface of this topic. So, yeah, I might do a part 2, in the near future. If you have any tips, stories, and questions, as always, email us at the email address in the video description below. I'd like to say thank you to the people who emailed and messaged me in the previous episode, and if you found this video useful, or if you're looking for more discussions on related topics, remember to subscribe to our channel. Well, thanks for listening, and I hope to talk to you again soon. Goodbye.